right, we are back today with Alien RPG. We're going to have two videos today. One is going to be on skills, one is going to be on talents. This one is specifically about skills. So what are skills in a Year Zero engine game? Well, we talked last week that there are only 12 skills. How can you cover an entire game with just 12 skills? Well, it's because there's a lot of nuance to those skills. And I wouldn't consider this a rules-light game, but it's definitely a game that is more narrative and faster flowing. And it's actually a system I really, really enjoy. We're going to talk about how to use those skills, what is pushing the roll, because Heathen Dog really loves pushing rolls, and what those skills do at the end. So look forward to talking to you about that in just a moment. We welcome all people, regardless of background, belief, or identity, to play tabletop role-playing games. Let's engage our imaginations, pull a veil over reality, and immerse ourselves in fantastic worlds. Don't be a disruption at the table, and always remember, it's just a game. The charity we support is the Wounded Warrior Project, a national, nonpartisan organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Please refer to the description below for the link to where you can make your, hopefully, tax-deductible donation. Join us Thursday and Saturday evenings on twitch.tv/legionofmyth to watch Heathen Dog and his team of dirty casuals play multiplayer games for your mockery and enjoyment. Here on our YouTube channel, you can watch these game-related segments live every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time, or check out the Friday night stream where our panel of guests opine, comment, and editorialize on the TTRPG hobby as a whole. Please leave us a comment with your thoughts and experiences. If you enjoy our gaming content, please be sure to subscribe to Legion of Myth. All right, there we go. There's our awesome... Ooh, did I F11 that? I guess I did. There's our awesome alien cover. Very thematic. And now we are going to go to page 61, and we are going to start reading about skills. Reading and talking about skills. Scroll in. There you go. Wow, that took a while. So some of you might remember this quote from the Aliens movie. Let you ponder on that for a second, and now we're going to, but it gets you the idea of what skills are for. All right, role playing. Oh wow, already this first sentence starts me up on the wrong foot. Role playing is an intimate conversation.
Wait. I have to be in the right frame of mind to listen to this. I gotta squeeze my nipples. Hang on. There we go. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Role-playing is an intimate conversation. The GM sets a scene. You describe what you do. She tells you how the NPCs react, and you respond. And so on. Back and forth. The story grows one step at a time, and everyone lives happily ever after. Not an Alien.
No.
Yeah, just kidding about the last part. Not on the frontier yet. Don't zoom in just a touch more so I can read that a little bit better. Sooner or later, we're saying poo-poo words in RPG Digest. Just like the prisoner Murphy hits the fan. Things come to a head. A point of no return is reached, and a problem mounts that cannot just be settled by talking your way out of it. I don't know. You ask any gamer, and they think that they're smarter than every game master, the rules of the book, laws of the land, physics, people's emotions. No, it just makes sense that this would work. Have you dealt with people in the real world? Making sense is not something that actually happens a lot. That's when you call upon your mad skills. Just break out the dice and show mother you know a thing or two. That can be taken so many different ways. All right, so let's look at the skills. These are the 12 skills, and this is it. This is all you have in the game for skills. Heavy machinery, stamina, and close combat for strength. Mobility, ranged combat, and piloting for agility. Observation, comtech, survival for wits. And command, manipulation, medical aid for empathy. Now, you probably, if you followed the other Year Zero engine games that we covered last year, you'll probably say, oh, a lot of that looks familiar, but there are a couple weird ones in there. Honestly, they're the same thing, just renamed.
Yep.
And they're reskinned for the purpose of being in
thematic.
More, thematic for Alien. That's exactly right. All right, so let's, how do we roll dice? How do you roll these weird, wacky, let me get mine out here real quickly. Now, as with every other Year Zero engine game, you can use any D6s you want. And instead of needing 3 colors, you only need 2 colors for Alien. You do want to separate your dice or use dots and numbers. That's a way I've actually done it before, dots and numbers. There you go. You have the yellow dice and you have the black dice. And, okay. And I got a 6 and a 1 on the yellow, so one's bad, one's good. And you're always trying to reach a 6. So however you want to do it with your D6s, and I don't know, did we miss it in the first video? But this game did not do a good job, unless it's about to come up, of talking about your attributes. Because didn't the other games right off the bat say your attributes are your base dice? No, hopefully it does.
They're probably going to talk about it here.
Yeah, hopefully I do. All right. So there are 12 skills in total in the game, all described later in this chapter. 3 skills are connected to each of the 4 attributes, as we just looked at: strength, agility, wits, and empathy. Skills are measured in skill levels from 0 to 5. Do you remember how you apply the skill levels, Heathen Dog?
Yes.
When you're creating your character?
Oh, yeah. You get certain skills that are pivotal to your job. You can get up to 3 points. Every other skill, you can get up to 1 point in generation.
Okay. And then attributes for that is very similar. So you get 14 points for your attributes. You can pick a number between 2 and 4 as long as it doesn't total past 14. And then you'll have 1 key attribute for your profession that you can actually raise to a 5.
You don't have to, but you could.
Right, exactly. So as mentioned in Chapter 1, 2 types of 6-sided dice are used in this game, each available for purchase separately, or just use regular ones. Base dice and stress dice. So again, it'll probably tell you, but I want to show you. Those are all black. The black ones are the base dice. There is nothing wrong with rolling a 1 on a black die, because if you know anything about the year 0 dice, they usually have little funky symbols on there for 1 and 6 if there's something wrong. Well, guess what the 6 has? Well, 6s are awesome. That's your little target. And boom, you hit something. You done succeeded. Here's your yellow, and here's your stress die. Look at that. 6, you're awesome, right? But what causes a lot of stress in Alien? Maybe a face hugger.
Yep.
That's bad. You don't want the face hugger.
No.
So there you go. Those are the 2 dice. You can play this game with any normal 6-sided dice, but it helps if you have them in 2 different colors, base dice and stress dice. Yeah. Rolls without skill. If you don't have the skill required, I've got a 0 rank in this skill. I have an attribute of 3, a 0 rank in a skill. Heathen Dog, how many dice do you roll? And what dice?
3 for your attribute.
There you go. If you don't have this the skill required for a particular action you want to perform, you can roll anyway. Simply roll a number of base dice equal to your attribute as well as any stress dice.
Okay, I have a question. It may be answered later, so tell me if it is. It's my belief that some skills cannot be done untrained. Is that true for this game, or can all skills be done untrained?
All skills can be done in this game. This isn't like Coriolis that has the advanced skills and the general skills.
I understand, but piloting, I don't without at least a rank 1, I don't think you could take off or land.
I theoretically agree with you, and in fact, maybe it'll talk about that when you talk about the skills, because I actually haven't read through them with any in-depthness. Okay. But I would agree with you, and I would probably house rule that, or make the difficulty higher.
Way better, yeah.
So, yeah, I would not be against a game master that did that, but by the core rules of this game, this is more of a standard year 0 engine game where it's like you can do anything because they just want the game to move on. And chances are you're going to have crap dice there anyway, so good luck succeeding.
Fair enough.
Okay, this little symbol here, as I tried to show you, a little targeting symbol means success. So when you use a skill, first describe what your character does or says, then add your skill level to your score in the attribute connected to the skill. Now, we mentioned before for Heathen Dog, we said you had an attribute of 3, but no skill. But now we're going to say, Heathen Dog, you have an attribute of 3 and a skill of 2.
Super.
How many dice do you roll?
5.
5. There you go. And unlike the other year 0 engine games, there are different types of dice. There aren't skill dice and base dice. There's just base dice, which includes your skill and your attribute.
Mm-hmm. And I don't see any gear dice anywhere. So.
Well, gear dice would be added actually to the skill to the base dice.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
There's only base dice, which really, to be fair, incorporates the gear, skill, and base dice of the other year 0 engine games, and stress dice, which we'll talk about in a moment because they're a little different than some of the other games.
Okay.
If you have stress dice, add these to the dice pool as well. Then just roll all the dice together. For your action to succeed, you must roll at least 1 6 or that little targeting symbol if you have the core dice. There it is again. If not, your action fails. It's that simple, guys. If you roll more than 1 success, you can perform stunts listed under each skill description. Basically, you get a little extra effect on there. Now, the face hugger symbol on the stress dice. The 1 is replaced by the face hugger. If you roll 1 or more face huggers, you risk panicking. Read more than that on page 103. Oh, we're going to have, when we talk combat in the next couple of weeks, we are going to have a whole section on just stress. This game is based around the stress concept.
That's why I love androids, because as we found out, androids don't get stress.
Oh, there you go. See, there it talks about your gear right there.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
The art of failure. If you don't roll any successes, something goes wrong. For some reason, you failed to achieve your goal. Feel free to elaborate on why with the help of the GM. She might even let a failed roll have further consequences to move the story forward in a dramatic way. Failure must not stop the story completely. I hate that term. Even when you fail, there must be a way. There must be a way forward, perhaps at the cost of time, risk, or UA dollars, but still a way. The GM has the final say on the consequences of failure in any particular situation. What's up?
I do have a problem with that, because I believe that, there at the end of every task, there is a final shot, and if you miss, you just failed.
Yeah, so one of the things I talk about when it comes just general gaming as a whole, this isn't about Year Zero engine games, this could be D&D, this could be Palladium, it could be whatever. I always feel that a good game master provides at least 3 ways of solving something. Yeah, generically speaking.
But the thing is, failure must not stop the story completely. No, there is a point where if they fail enough, they just lose.
That's fair. Oh, that's fair. Yeah. For me, though, I would add the added thing that, you lost this, you lost the battle, but you haven't lost the war, so to speak. The campaign can still go on. Even if all characters die, technically, the campaign can go on. Even if the bad guys win, the campaign can go on as long as some of you get away. Maybe now you're seeking revenge. This is why I don't like it when it says the story part of it, because it should be emergent storytelling. The storytelling comes from the game, not the other way around. If you go in with a story and expect the players to match that, you're going to be very disappointed. So, but I would say failure must not stop the game completely. Even when you fail, there must be a way forward, perhaps at the cost of, okay, we already read that, but there are other options. You can retreat, try something different, or just, what? We lost this one. We're going to go make our money elsewhere. Whatever. You have one last chance if you really want to succeed. You can push the roll. This is the same if you've seen any of the other Year Zero rules, but it's got a little twist because of the stress dice, and it gives you the chance of success here. All right, so if you're rolling 10 dice, you have an 84% chance of success. 96 if you count the push roll also. So, pushing your roll. If you're desperate to succeed with a dice roll, you should choose to push or you can choose to push the roll. This means that you grab all dice that didn't show a symbol and roll them again. You get a new chance to... I don't agree with this. This doesn't sound right.
Why? You re-roll all non-successes. That's what it says.
Yeah, this is different than normal. Okay, I'm gonna wait and see if this is corrected later. My issue has to do with the face hugger. We'll remember that when it comes to face hugger time. Okay, all right. You can choose to push roll. This means you grab all the dice that didn't show sixes or the targeting symbol and roll them again. You get a new chance to roll for successes. Usually, you would only push a roll if you failed. Although you can push a roll even if you got a success to get more successes. That's weird. I don't always suggest that.
Well, if you really need that stunt.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I have to knock them down.
Yeah,
that's fair. Pushing a roll is not without risk as it increases your stress level. More on that below. Just spoiler alert, you will gain 1 stress just for pushing a roll. Only once. You can only push your roll once. If you don't succeed on your second try, you just have to deal with the consequences. Some talents can allow you to push certain rolls a second time, however. That's why they're talents. Stress level. Pushing yourself builds tension to the point where you risk going into wild panic or a violent outburst. When you push a roll, your stress level immediately increases by 1 point. Mark this down on your character sheet before you re-roll your dice. When making skill rolls, include the immediate re-roll when pushing. Add a number of stress dice equal to your dice pool. Add a number of stress dice to your dice pool equal to your current stress level. By the way, that means when the die you just got is added immediately to this. Your push actually has 1 more die than your standard roll.
Yep.
So this means, okay, actually, I should just read. This means the stress actually increases your chances to succeed at skill rolls. Makes you more sharp and alert. However, if you roll a facehunger symbol on one or more stress dice during a skill roll, you risk panic. What's this sidebar? Is this sidebar meaningful? Don't roll too often. Okay, that's one of the things we talk about quite a bit. Story points. Story points are for cinematic mode only. And we talked about that a little bit last week. So in a cinematic scenario, you can spend a story point to get an automatic success. And if you're like, what's the difference between cinematic mode and campaign mode? Well, watch last week's videos. All right. Only one chance. As a rule, you only have one chance to succeed with any action. Once you have rolled the dice and pushed the roll, you can't roll again to achieve the same goal. You need to try something different or wait until circumstances have changed in a substantial way. I like that word substantial there. You can also change your own environment. One of the examples I use, and I know this is more fantasy oriented than sci-fi, but it's a really easy example. You try to climb a wall. It didn't work. Can you try again if you use a grappling hook? Yes, if you didn't use the grappling hook in the first attempt. Now, why you wouldn't, I don't know, because that's gear dice and adds to your roll, but whatever. You have to change the environment somehow. And it's not just like, I'm just going to give it a go again, but instead of using my hands, I'm going to use my palm. No. Whatever nonsense I was trying to say there. The point being is it has to be substantially different. The idea behind this is that your character is smart enough to think through different ways of doing things, and you would have considered that while using the skill. You're trying to you're trying to use your what's that, the loader that Ripley was using. You're trying to use the loader to run to the I can't think, the bay door. Well, that's an agility roll, okay? If you don't make it, you can try to push the roll, but what is it that you're doing to substantially to change the environment? Well, maybe the alien missed you, spit acid all over the bay door controls, and it just stops. But you didn't cause that. You have to wait for that environment to change or cause the change yourself. So, let's see. Or let another player character try. That's not always true, by the way. That's kind of a misnomer there. This rule does not apply to combat where you can attack the same enemy over and over again until it's dead on the floor. Yes, missing a shot does not mean, well, can't shoot anymore.
That'd be funny.
That would be funny. In group rolls, when you face a challenge together with the other PCs, don't roll dice separately. And this is why I kind of said that this isn't fully true up here, or let another player character try. It's partially true. It's because of this. Instead, you choose who among you is best suited to take on the challenge. The others may help, see the next page, if it's relevant to the situation. If the roll fails, it counts as a failure for all of you. You're not allowed to try one time each. This rule does not apply in combat where, okay, you're all trying to lift a big boulder, big rock. You're trying to get that grate off of Heathen that got smashed, and we're trying to lift it off of him because we want to drag him out so he can live. Well, 3 of us rolled to try, and we can't do it. Well, guess what? We can't do it. Now, can we change the environment to possibly have another opportunity? Hey, who's in chat? Name somebody in chat. Rex Teal's right there. Rex Teal, go find us a lever. As facehuggers are coming around, we're shooting. He finally comes back and finds something we can use as a lever. Okay, since time was wasted, since we found something new, we have changed the environment, we can now roll again. And that lever might, add a gear die, to the base roll. Does that make sense for folks? Hopefully it does. All right, modification. Sometimes external factors help you to succeed. This gives you extra base dice to your roll. Other times, something hampers your action. This gives you fewer base dice to the roll. This is called modification. A +1 means you roll extra base dice. +2 means you roll 2 extra base dice. Notice they're being very clear here that it's base dice, base dice, base dice. No risk of facehuggers. -1 means you roll 1 base dice fewer than normal, and -2 means 2 fewer. I think we all get the math of that.
Yeah.
Several modifications can apply to the same roll. You simply add them together. We got a nice little example there. Okay. NPCs and skills. Let's see. You can use skills the same way as characters with one major. The NPCs can never push roll. Yeah, that's normal. That's normal for year 0 games. NPCs cannot push rolls. That's a player character function. Difficulty. Normally the GM doesn't assess how difficult an action is. You only roll the dice in challenging situations, period. But sometimes the GM might want to underscore that external factors either help or hinder the action. Use the table to the right for guidance. There are also cases when modifications are imposed by the rules, like when you aim carefully with a ranged weapon. One of the things I'm going to say in my experience of playing Year Zero games, and I have a bad habit of doing this. I stress the word bad habit. I shouldn't be doing this. Is I like to add plus modifications to lower skilled characters and negative modifications to higher skilled characters. If there's any complaint about Year Zero games that I've heard from folks, because I haven't done campaigns, I've done a lot of one shots. I haven't done any campaigns of Year Zero engine games. Is that early characters suck at everything. Later characters are impossible to stop. They succeed at everything. And I get that because of how the success system works. I have a workaround for that people don't like, so I won't mention it here. But what I want to say is stay away from this table as much as you can. Let the game play itself out the way it's supposed to. There are other things you can do to make things more difficult than just throw in modifiers. You can put in scenarios that are more difficult. You can have more enemies if it's combat. There are things you can do. You don't just have to do this. This can become a crutch. And I say that as somebody who's on occasion turned it into a crutch. All right. Help from others. The PCs or NPCs can help you succeed at a skill roll. This must be declared right away before you roll your dice. Why? Because you can't see if you failed and they'll be like, can you help me with the rock now? Okay, that's not how this works. This also makes sense for the story. The individual helping you must have the capacity to support your action. If I need help making sure I translate something into Alienese perfectly, I need to know that Heathen Dog actually knows Alienese, before we can work together on this to get the benefit.
Or else I'm just going to be a lodestone.
Right, exactly. For each person helping you, you get a +1 to the modification. No more than 3 people can help you with a single roll, meaning your maximum modification from assistance is +3, but that's still pretty good. And NPCs can help each other in the same way. Opposed rolls.
+3?
What's that?
That's the maximum they can do is give you a +3?
Well, each person is a +1, so you get a maximum of +3 to a roll.
But just play the game on easy mode. Be an android. You get +3 all the time.
That's kind of fair, yeah. Sometimes rolling success isn't enough to succeed with your skill roll. Really? In some cases, you have to beat your foe in an opposed roll. So this is that arm wrestling match.
Yeah.
You win an opposed roll. To win an opposed roll, you have to roll successfully and roll more successes than your adversary. Every success your adversary rolls eliminates one of your successes. Only you, the attacker, got to be careful with, that you in this case isn't really good. Only the initiator, and this goes back to other Year Zero engine games. I'm going to use the word initiator, not attacker. Only the initiator can push the roll. So if it is, let's say Heathen Dog and I we'll do the arm wrestling thing because it's real easy. If I win initiative, I am the initiator. Okay? If on my initiative, I want to push my roll to slam his arm down, I get to push my roll. He does not. Now, if for whatever reason, nope, that wouldn't even work. Never mind. That doesn't even make sense. So, hopefully you get the point. The initiator, the attacker in combat, that is the one that gets to push the roll, not the person who's resisting or basically the person who lost initiative. Sometimes your adversary rolls for a different skill, sometimes the same. Opposed rolls are common when you manipulate or use mobility to sneak, and when someone uses those skills against you. The GM can also use opposed rolls when she deems it appropriate, like stamina versus stamina, to determine the outcome of an arm wrestle. There you go. I would have thought that it would have been heavy machine, but I guess, because heavy machine is actually different. It's not like your typical strength skill in most of the Year Zero engine games. I guess it would fall to stamina, wouldn't it? Who can last longer? And is that it? Oh, that looks like it's it. Now we're actually into the skills themselves. I want to kind of do a middle break here. So go ahead and throw up any chat.
Okay.
That we had.
Copy that. First off, thank you, Mercurius.
Thank you.
Becoming a YouTube member. Appreciate it.
All the way down there from Austria land.
Well, Australia. And Michael Watt said, "Runaway is a viable option." Yes, if you want to drastically change the circumstances of your skill roll, run away. Try and get there using a different skill, a different way. That is it. I mean, if you're hitting a wall, why break down the wall? just go around the other side. Figure out a way to do the same thing using a completely different skill. You could try again, which makes perfect sense. And Rex Teal says, Legion Myth, so what will happen more in this game? Dying or slowly becoming a more insane, traumatized, scared, or generally broken character? In your experience,
I've honestly never played it. I've only read through it.
Okay.
So I don't have any actual, even anecdotal experience. Based on reading the rules when I have in the past, I would say dying is, and here's why. It's actually fairly easy to recover. This isn't like Insanity from Call of Cthulhu, where it just goes and goes and goes and you're done.
Yeah.
Panic is more immediate. And it's something, yes, it can cause a lot of problems. So we're going to talk about that in combat. And you can mess up a whole ton of things for that. But you actually can recover. And usually by the time you're playing the next session, you have no panic left in you. Have no stress in you.
Yeah, that's the reason you have a signature item. It actually helps you recover stress. And other people who have a certain skill and a high empathy score can help you recover stress. So
now, go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, so there's a lot of ways to recover stress, but there's only a couple ways to heal.
Now, there's a flip side to this question, though. If you're talking during a game session, well, you can only die once. And fear and panic is baked into the game. So panic itself will happen a lot. Does that make sense?
Except androids.
Except androids.
They don't panic.
We're going to find out.
But basically the answer is dying happens more than going irretrievably stress traumatized. But that's not the main thing that'll get you killed. The main thing that'll get you or other people around you killed is panicking, which happens more often than not. When you get to a certain stress level, you're probably going to panic. That's the way it is, man.
And in response to violence over there, I really like this system. Yeah, there's a couple tweaks, but that's because it's kind of a rules light system, and none of them cover everything. But I love the Year Zero engine. I think it's one of the best systems out there. But no game is perfect. Palladium's not perfect. Year Zero's not perfect. D&D's not perfect. Call of Cthulhu's not perfect. Traveler's not perfect. None of them are perfect. But this one really fits a niche for me that I like. And talking about that, this is one of the areas that you would normally think I wouldn't like. There are only 12 skills in the game, and really? Because I generally am the type of person, I like to have more skills, more uniqueness between the characters, but I find that the 12 or 16, if you're playing Forbidden Lands, skills that these games have really work for the type of game that it's trying to express. Now, let's start with the strength skills. At least I hope they're starting with the strength skills. Heavy machinery. Now, this one's a little different, and this is actually the one I thought would have been rolled for, arm wrestling, because it's kind of just the generic strength skill, like might is in one of the other games. But let's read what it says here, because apparently I was wrong. Hard work is part of life for any roughneck on the frontier, but at least you have powerful machines to help you. Roll for this skill when you attempt to use, repair, jury rig, or break any kind of heavy machinery. So, Ripley using that little loader.
The loader, yeah. Well, I wouldn't call it little, but yeah.
Well, fair. Failure. The blasted thing just won't do what you want. And what if the noise you make attracts unwanted company? You stumbled over in it, fell over. Now you got a face hugger looking down on you like, hi. And you're like, my life, you're just rethinking everything you messed up in life. First girlfriends, whatever. Success. With a groan, the machine bends to your will. It's a little too narrative for my taste when it's just a success, but okay. Now stunts. What can you do? If you're using heavy machinery and you get extra successes, what can you do with those? Well, you can get a +1 modification to a later skill roll relating to this one. This is something that a few games do. I think a Mutant Year Zero did that, right? If I remember correctly, you could maybe that was like the momentum thing. Well, the momentum had other issues we didn't like, but I like the idea that by succeeding at this skill, as long as it's still related to this one, I get a bonus to it. I made something easier, something better. I'm cool with that. I think that's a good thing. Only with that caveat of related to this skill. You got this. You don't need to roll to overcome the exact same challenge in the future. Now,
no. I got this one. One. This works perfectly for something like this. let's say you're a pilot for a bunch of colonial marines and you are dropping down in the atmosphere.
Okay.
The pilot will have to make 3 rolls because it's really crappy. The first roll, you get an extra success. The second roll you can use to just get an auto success. And then you just got to roll the third one. And that'll get everyone down safely. You're doing the exact same thing. It's just taking several rolls because it takes time. And it's actually helping you skip a possible failure.
Heathen Dog just mentioned something that this book did not go into like some of the other books did. Because I want to sit here and say, no, that wouldn't happen in Year Zero Engine, or it doesn't happen in other Year Zero Engine games. And here's the pedantry of this. This is me being pedantic, but I'm doing it for a reason. Because the other books actually say this. You would never make 3 rolls for that. It would only ever be 1 roll. You succeed or you don't succeed. This game doesn't have multiple, like, well, got to do it 4 times in order to succeed. No, there is none of that in this game. Now, there's a caveat to that I could see an argument for. Well, you need 1 for hitting atmosphere and you need 1 for putting it on the ground. So I could possibly see 2 rolls, but never 3. Now, I'm not arguing with him because I think what he's saying makes sense. I'm only saying that in this game, or in Year Zero Engine games, normally they're very adamant. 1, you only make 1 roll. You're trying to land it from space, then you make 1 roll. You either landed it or you didn't land it well and you're off course by blah, blah, blah. It's interesting that this book does not do that. At least it hasn't yet.
If that is true, I have a problem with this because this gives the player a back pocket free win. It says you don't need to roll to overcome the exact same challenge in the future.
Yep.
It doesn't give a time limit on that crap. There's no time limit.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
I am dropping from space to atmosphere. I roll 1 time. Oh, good. I got a free success later on in life. Put it in your pocket.
Right. Now, I disagree with that. Now, here's how I would use it. And this is how I've thought about this even when I was reading the book in the past. I would never use it as it's just in your back pocket to use whenever. I would use it's in your back pocket for this planet, using your scenario of landing, okay? Yeah, the next time you've got to fly through the chop and there's a problem on this planet, I'll give it to you. But it's not going to help you in the next planet. It's not going to help you getting back to the ship. It's not going to help you in some other unrelated way. It's either got to be this planet, this scenario, this session, something like that. I'm not going to let you store these things up as little notes on the back of your character sheet. Now, that might break the intent. Maybe the creators of this game are like, no, you got that stunt. You could use it 10 sessions down, trying to land into on a new world that nobody's ever been there before. I don't agree with that.
I understand, but on the flip side, how many times are you going to go back and forth on the same planet? You know, it depends. It depends on your characters. If you're colonial marines, you're not going back. You're going down. You kill everything, and then you leave when your job is done. You don't go back.
Yeah, no, I get it. And you know what? If we're going by a strict reading of the rule, it just says on the exact same challenge in the future. And I just wouldn't. To me, it doesn't make sense to allow that. So,
but anyone could interpret it exact same challenge. It doesn't say exact same circumstance. The challenge is the role and what the role is for. Right. Landing on a planet. That's the challenge.
I get you, and I understand that point, and I think that is what the book is saying. I personally would say no to that. I would either do what I said, or I would relate it to like what the first one above, relating to this one. Any skill roll relating to, I just refer it back to that. It's got to be somehow referenced. Your skill is about this. I don't want to belabor this because you out there, tell us how you run your games. Like, I'm not arguing with the book either. I understand what it says there. It's just that's a little too loosey-goosey for my taste.
I get it. I like the next one too.
So you do it quickly, half the time it would normally take. That's common to Year Zero games.
Oh no, especially for Planetfall. The pilot's like, hey guys, watch this. Absolutely dive bomb and then pull up at the last second. Everyone's vomiting and peeing themselves. You're like,
when we read talents in the next video, hold that thought.
Okay. All right.
Hold that thought. You break it permanently. Well, that's not good, isn't it? No.
Break it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You act quietly. Hey, you're in that loader. Ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. You're not tiptoeing. It just so happens that the game master says, you know what, a door was opening at that time, or the person was sneezed, or whatever happens to be, isn't listening to what was going on here. You're not going to be stealthily. You're not going to take a jackhammer and do it quietly. It just means that for whatever reason, the person didn't pay attention, or
circumstances were in your favor.
Right, exactly. Or you show off. You're one-arm jackhammering.
Yeah.
Now that could be good for manipulation roles.
Yeah, people are impressed. It doesn't say you try and show off. It says you show off, and showing off means you impress people.
All right. So, Ronnie Abad, who's actually commented on a lot of our Year Zero Engine videos, says Planetfall rules in this game are cool. So, you know what?
We're gonna get there.
As somebody who hasn't read them,
we're gonna get there.
Well, yeah, in a couple of weeks. But
that's why I didn't start it.
Yeah, and maybe the reason it's not in this book is because of things like that. Remember when I made that comment earlier? All right, let's go to stamina. We've spent a lot of time on just one skill. Stamina. When your physical endurance and vigor is tested, roll stamina. For example, the skill is used to survive the cold vacuum of space or to resist a deadly contagion. You're going to find this skill in some form or another in like every Year Zero Engine game.
Yep.
Failure. Just can't take it anymore. You give in to the pain and suffer the consequences. Success. You manage to push on, ignoring the pain just a little longer. Now, what happens if you get extra successes? You can give one to another PC. If you remember Mutant Year Zero, this was very big in Mutant Year Zero.
Yeah, you can do it, Joey. I believe in you. Here,
exactly.
I'm gonna pick you up. I'll carry you for a minute. You got this, bro.
Yep. Exactly. You gain +1 modification to a later skill roll relating to this one. Makes much more sense.
That is very, very good, especially for stamina, because if you're in an environment or a situation that requires one stamina roll, you're probably going to need another one later on.
Yep.
And this will come in very handy.
And a lot of times extra rolls start coming with those negatives. So maybe you've just negated one of the negatives.
There you go.
You're hardened by the experience and don't need to roll to overcome the exact same. Now it's exact same challenge in the future.
Exact same. But I like this better because for all the examples for contagion, for bad environments, it's very likely you're going to be stuck in a bad environment or be exposed to a bad contagion for more than one, one round or whatever, and you're going to have to make another roll again because you have not escaped that environment. Getting an auto success for the next roll could be the difference between you living and you dying.
Right, and I also like the verbiage of this because suffering from cold, making a skill check when you're suffering from cold is different than you making a skill check when you're suffering from disease. So just because you successfully got the really good skill roll from not freezing to death doesn't mean you get to use the same one to resist the disease.
Right, it's exact same.
Yeah, exactly. And you impress someone once again. That's going to be a common theme. Now, some people, I've actually, not for this game, but for other games, I've had people say, this is useless. And what does this matter? This impressing someone is meant to be used when you're using manipulation checks or for role-playing purposes. And a good game master will put that into consideration. Like, oh, you impress this person, you get a +1 to your social conflict. Like, that's how it's supposed to be used. Close combat. I think we can figure this out. This is fighting, right?
Yep.
Failures, you just miss. Now it's your opponent's turn. Success, you hit and inflict damage equal to the weapon damage rating on your opponent. We'll deal with that in combat next week. And stunts. Now, what can you do? Now, remember, this is close combat. So close combat is twofold. That's fisticuffs or it's stabby stab.
Yep.
Scroll down.
Sharpie sharp stick or your meat gloves.
Exactly. You inflict 1 more point of damage. You can choose a stunt multiple times if you roll several successes. Awesome. Now, most stunts you can only do once. It has to explicitly say you can do it multiple times for you to pick it multiple times. So this is obviously a good one. If your weapon does 3 damage and you get 2 extra successes, so 3 successes total, you get that 3 damage, 1 for the success, right? And then you could pile on 2 more points of damage. 5 damage takes out most people. If it doesn't, you better be wearing some good armor. You outmaneuver your enemy and can trade initiative scores. So
that is highly, highly effective because, as we know, as we learned earlier today, opposed rolls can only be pushed by the initiative winner.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have initiative, you're going to be at a disadvantage during this conflict at some point.
Again, only for the sake of pedantry and because I know the comments that we get, The arm wrestling thing was initiative winner, but there are circumstances when Heathen Dog may have already gone, and now it's my action where it becomes opposed roll, where I'm still considered the attacker, even though he had the initiative because he's already gone.
Mm.
So, but again, it's because I know we'll get comments in there. You don't have to win initiative. I get it. So you knock or pull a weapon or other object from your opponent. I want to disarm Heathen Dog because I want him using meat gloves as I'm using a sword or a sharp stick. You know, your opponent is knocked to the ground. That's a great one. You hold your opponent in a grapple. Needs to win an opposed close combat roll. There are grappling rules. We'll get into combat when we talk about combat next week.
Okay.
So, weapons in close combat. You can use weapons such as clubs, knives, power drills.
And wait, just quickly, we're gonna get into that in combat. But do weapons add to the skill roll or just to the damage?
What do you mean? Oh, you mean like
does it add to your base dice for the actual
only if it has a gear score?
Does it just increase the base damage?
It kind of does neither. It has its own damage. It has its own damage rating, and only if it has a gear score does it increase your base dice.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Now remember, base dice in effect potentially increases your damage.
Fair. Yeah, because every success you can choose for the stunt increase.
Exactly.
Damage. Yeah.
Exactly.
All
right. So mobility. Now we're to agility skills. When the heat is on, and you're trying to dodge the jaws of death. You need to keep a cool head. Yeah, an alien. And move quickly and silently. Roll for mobility when you want to get out of a hazardous situation, be it a risky climb, a dangerous jump, or sneaking past a lurking enemy. When mobility is used for stealth, make an opposed roll against your opponent's observation. We talked about opposed rolls before. Since you're the one doing the stealthing, you are considered the initiator, the attacker. You would get to push your roll. This skill also specific.
What if I'm actively observing really hard?
It would still be because the person, unless the person's choosing to stealth, it's always the stealth. I can't think of a situation off the top of my head where it'd be the observer. I have thought the same thing you're thinking, but it's always the person choosing to stealth that's the actor in that case. Because observation.
I get it. But if I got initiative and I know someone is trying to sneak by me, I'm going to observe.
I could see an argument for that, and
there's an argument for it, but there is no action until the stealth starts. So I get it. Yeah, I get it. All right.
I would not say definitively that there's only one way to do this. I would say if it fits the situation and the person who's like, well, I know you're there out there. I know you're there out there somewhere. Like you said, wins initiative, or even just the fact that that person is really focused on this, where you either make
my entire turn looking for Jack. He's going to try and sneak up on me and stab me. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
And still you're boned.
Yeah. Well, Ron says stealth mode has passive enemy and active mode. Okay. Well, we'll get to that if we find it. Despite your best efforts, one of the things that all these rules, and it doesn't matter what game we're playing, aren't so written in stone that you can't find an exception. Literally, no role-playing game ever written in existence can cover everything that players can come up with. So you have to make a judgment call somewhere, and I can see a situation where what Heathen Dog's suggesting actually could work. So despite your best efforts, you fail and must suffer the consequences. You're a Han Solo. You stepped on the stick. Success. You survived the sticky situation. By the way, this doesn't just have to be for stealth. This could be you running across a tightrope. This could be you trying to leap and grab that chandelier or the rope before it gets out of range. You know, there are different uses of the mobility skill. So for every extra success you roll, give one success to another PC in the same situation as you. Give 1+ modification to a later skill roll relating to this one, or you impress someone. Same themes as we saw.
Pocket auto success. Okay.
Piloting, agility, be it a dropship, a starfighter, or a battle frigate. You're the one to fly it. Roll piloting when you attempt a difficult and dangerous maneuver at the helm of any type of spacecraft. The skill can be used to drive ground vehicles. So
now, it's very important that one sentence there. Roll for piloting when you attempt any difficult and dangerous maneuver at the helm of any spacecraft. Difficult and dangerous. If you are landing on an airfield in a beautiful sunny day with no wind, you're not rolling anything.
Right.
Nothing. If you are changing course in the middle of nowhere space, you are rolling nothing. Unless there's a black hole in front of you, or you have an engine out, or whatever. There must be some situation to where it makes that number one, the possibility of failure and having consequences for failure. Yep, exactly. Both of those things must be, because it says difficult and dangerous, not difficult or dangerous.
Yeah, but you're being too pedantic about those terms, and you have to understand that they write this a little more loosey-goosey. Difficult and dangerous work together.
Language, if they want, they get the consequences.
Well, those words work together. So difficult, dangerous are implied as one big amorphous. Like, if it's difficult, well, I mean, how would it not be dangerous if it's difficult?
I can name several things that are difficult, but if I fail, I'm not in any danger.
Right. You'd still make a skill roll.
Apparently not.
Well, then okay. Again, I always win this argument with everybody else out there. So
we'll people to crash, man. The game doesn't want people to crash. That's it. The only way to crash in this game is if a xenomorph is behind you, eats your face as you're in your landing procedure.
That part I agree with.
We've seen that.
But there can be things in life that are difficult, and you would still, in a game, you would still roll to see if there's success. But the two criteria that we're generally talking about, that Heathen Dog is absolutely right about, is that you only roll when there's chance of failure and the result of that failure is meaningful, or the result of the success or failure is meaningful. Otherwise, you don't roll. You don't roll to drive to work every day, even knowing full well that Montgomery traffic out here can be difficult and dangerous. Whatever. I'll let you look at the chat because I got to read this. Okay, you're coming in too hot. You crash and burn. There's more to it than that, but that's an example. You pull off the maneuver by the skin of your teeth, or you're just that good and nobody even realized it.
Why does it have to be skin of the teeth? And nothing. It doesn't have to be dramatic. You know, I'm an ace pilot. I landed in bad weather. This is not a shock to anybody. Right?
But it sets the tone for the game, though.
It sets the tone that I'm the boss and you're a bitch. That's what it does, and that's the way I like it.
Okay. All right, for every extra success you roll, choose one of the applicable as normal. Gain a modification later skill roll, or you show off. We're getting less and less here. So
I know, right? It's getting a little meager with these stunts.
Ranged combat. This is your pew pew. This is your guns. Do you have a gun? Fun. You can shoot people. All right. So failure. Shot misses your target. You get it. Success. You hit and do damage equal to the weapon's damage. Again, it's like all combat. We're going to talk more about that this week. And you're going to find that these stunts are about the same, but there are a couple differences. First one is, where is it? You pin down your enemy. Need to make a panic roll. This can be a good one.
Wait. Oh, they need to make a panic. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get it.
You position yourself and get to exchange your initiative score, which you've already read, but basically you make a tactical move, and now you got yourself in like an Overwatch position, so to speak. Your target drops weapon. I would say you shot it, or because he's not scared, you hit the weapon.
Oh no, you hit him in the nerve or whatever.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Open up. You can do that. Yeah.
Your opponent falls to the ground or is pushed back, for example, through an airlock.
Yeah, you
hit him, he stumbles, or you just drop him.
Yeah, you shoot him in the foot and he falls. That makes sense. Yeah, I get it.
Yep. Observation. In the world of Alien, you need to be on your guard at all times or you won't live long. You can use your observation skill to spot someone sneaking. You can use the skill when you spot an unknown threat of some kind to learn more about it. So not only are you seeing somebody sneaking, but you can be like, hey, what's that? Oh, that's one of I want to use something. That's a predator. Same universe. I can do that.
Fair.
I said, what's that purring noise? We don't have a cat.
Yeah.
Failure. You really can't make out what it is, or you mistake it for something else. Oh, it's a kitty.
It's got to be that dumb cat.
Yeah. Success. You're able to make out what it is and whether or not it looks like a threat. I don't know. It's got big juicy armor and it goes whoosh, whoosh, whoosh out of its shoulder. So I think it's a threat. The exact information you get is up to the game master. And I like that line because this allows a good game master to give enough information that's useful to the player. I stress that word. Useful to the player. But
you don't succeed. There has to be a benefit because success was achieved. But you don't have to give away all your cards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Stunts for every extra. Is it coming for me? Are there more than close by? How do I get in past or away? This is actually an underused one.
Yeah, how to get in past or away. That, like, how do I get out? Oh, well, it looks like it can't swim. Okay. There's water right there. So
it doesn't mean you successfully did it. It just means, so
that's
in order
a
for me
way to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is a path to success.
Yeah, Ron, I'm always going to say game master. I'm not against game mother. I talked about that last week. I actually love the term game mother. I'm just not used to saying it. I did correct myself a bunch of times last week, though, but I'm not going to do that today. I want to get through these skills, but you are right. Game mother. Comtech. All right, this one's kind of new to this game. Programming androids, mainframes, and other types of advanced technology requires specialist knowledge. Roll for Comtech for any challenging attempt to program, repair, decrypt, and otherwise manipulate any type of computer or communication technology. You do not have to roll Comtech to run Windows and play your video game.
No, you don't. You don't have to roll Comtech to pull up the unencrypted daily roster of jobs.
Right.
You don't have to roll Comtech to call Com System 74 to talk to Joey. You don't have to do any of that crap. But if you want to change the operating system, add or delete things with security clearance, stuff like that, then yeah.
Dive into the log portion that was deleted and get it out of memory,
Stuff like that, yeah.
No matter what the failure, no matter what algorithm you try, just won't work. And what if you inadvertently triggered the alarm?
Oh,
guys, there's a red light flashing now. Is that bad? No, just keep going. Yeah. Success. The code is like music, and you play it beautifully. God.
Why? You didn't need that.
Right? Stunts. For each extra success, +1 modification, later skill roll related to this one. You don't need to overcome the exact same challenge. You do it quickly in half the time. You get newer, unexpected information. GM's choice. That's one that can put the game master on the spot. And I actually watched a Let's Play of this probably a year or two ago where somebody said that. It's like, hey, I want some newer, updated information. The game master's like, Because as a game master, you kind of have to think for a moment, like, what's giving up the farm? Is there new information? Like Heathen Dog said in the last one, you got a success. You deserve what you get out of this. But, my point is, I've seen that stump somebody. So, be nice to your game master.
Yeah. Hide your track is a really good one, especially if you are playing cinematic mode and your goal is against the other players. You can do stuff and hide it so they won't know who did it. And you can be like, oh man, I don't know. It was probably Billy. Billy, he's got that look. That's good.
And of course you show off. I don't know how you show off with computers like that, but okay. Survival. Terraforming can make the atmosphere on alien worlds passably breathable, but it will rarely make them Earth-like. You might be able to breathe without a pressure suit on such worlds, though you can also expect to struggle against extreme heat, cold, sandstorms, acid rain. It's just an alien. It's okay. And other extreme weather. Roll survival when you're in a hazardous planet-side environment of some kind and need to figure a way to stay alive. I thought you also rolled survival when you had to deal with oxygen issues on a spaceship as well.
Nope, that's stamina.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Because hot and cold are not the only... oxygen issues are also an environmental issue.
Failure. You find no safe haven. Unless someone comes to your rescue, you're on borrowed time. Remember, one chance. You don't get 17 rolls. If you want the players to succeed, just let them succeed. You don't give them 17 rolls. They're failing out here and they're breathing, what was that Rick and Morty thing? Heroin. 10% of his planet's made out of heroin. Well, you know what? That's not good for us.
No.
So,
well, it'll be good for a couple minutes. Then it won't.
Yeah, then it won't. And then when you leave, detoxing from that. But the point is like, you don't get 17 rolls. You get the one roll. You didn't find it, and now things are getting bad. For every extra success you roll, choose one stunt applicable to the situation as normal. Give another +1 to PC, or sorry, give a success to a PC, gain +1 modification. You impress someone. I'm not reading the duplicates much anymore because you get the idea. Manipulation, and this will get into social conflict. I don't know if that's going to be separate or if that's here. Let's find out. Alien life forms may gut you without remorse, but the most truly dangerous beings in the alien universe are the corporate agents and other schemers who use lies, threats, and subtle persuasion to get what they want. To make another person see things your way, you make an opposed roll for manipulation. Takes a liar to spot a liar. In other games, what was the skill that they used for this? It was manipulation versus was it empathy? No, empathy was no. I forget. There was another, but in this one, it's manipulation versus manipulation.
Wits, I think. Wits.
Well, wits it's an attribute. There's another skill. I don't know. Insight. It was versus insight, but there's no insight in this one. So, your chances are affected by your negotiation position. See the bounded text on the next page. Okay, we will look at that because this is where that impressing people hopefully will come in. If not, well, I'm telling you, it should be there. Failure, your adversary won't listen or do what you want, might start to dislike you, even attack you if provoked. Do you remember before where it's like, I'm sorry, that was under success. Let's see what success is. If you succeed, your adversary must either do what you want or immediately attack you physically. Okay, that's what I was looking for there. So if he really doesn't want to give up that favorite transformer that I'm going to steal from him, his choice is to either give it to me because I succeeded or he has to punch me with it.
Yeah, you know what? I am not giving you my vintage Decepticon. It's not going to happen. It's not.
So pop.
so I'm gonna beat your ass.
There you go. Even if your adversary chooses to do what you want, you can still demand something in return. In fact, this is one thing that's baked into all the Freely games that I like. I really like this. Yeah. This roll isn't an I win button. It is, okay, you know what? I will give you the transformer. It has to be reasonable. Yeah, for $50. You know, it's worth $50. I can't argue with that. Okay. Or maybe I wanted it for 10. He'd be like, okay, I'll give you this for $10, but you have to give me, do I have anything on my desk that's worth a damn? No. But you have to give me that graphics card, that you haven't been using for 2 years. Whatever, but something, you can request something. The GM decides what that entails for NPCs, but it should be reasonable enough for you to be able to meet those demands. It's up to you to accept the agreement or not. Like, hey, you know what? I'll give you my water if you give me a magazine of ammunition. In most cases, that's reasonable. Stunts. For each extra success you roll, your opponent does what you want without demanding a favor in return. This is the most common one to pick.
Yep.
Your opponent does more than you asked for. For example, giving you some useful piece of information. Details are up to the GM. I wonder if that's original to Alien. I don't remember that in the other games.
I don't remember that either, but I like the fact that you can get people to just start talking and just giving up stuff.
Yeah, I like it as well. Your opponent is impressed by you and will try to help you later on in some way.
Oh, look at that. Made a friend.
It's that movie character that you forgot about that all of a sudden at the end comes to save the day a little bit. Here you go. Being manipulated. NPCs and other PCs can use manipulation on you. If their role succeeds, you must attack or offer a deal of some kind. Then it's up to the game master whether your adversary accepts or not.
No, my agency.
Well, I actually go the other way on that. I agree with you. That absolutely happens. My issue with this one, I love it. I love this rule. This isn't an issue with the Alien rules. Is most players think that they're smart. Again, it goes back to what we said at the beginning, or maybe it was off the video, but most players think that they're smarter than every game master, rule, or NPC out there. Well, I made the roll. Oh, yeah, you could have my pocket lint. I offered a pocket lint. Why shouldn't you take it? I made my roll. Like, no, you have to do something reasonable. Stop trying to manipulate the system. Yes, you got the roll, but this is a trade, not a demand. If you want the demand, you have to get the extra successes. And oh, by the way, I made the demand or the request of you, and I made the roll as the game master. Now, if you want to barter and trade, think of something meaningful that this person would want. He doesn't want your stocking cap,
or shoot him,
or shoot him. Yeah, there's that. Negotiating position. This will give you bonuses, +1 bonus for each one. If you have more people on your side, it's intimidating if you have more people on your side. Hey, what you asked for? It doesn't cost me anything. Oh, you want a note card from me, Heathen Dog? I have plenty of note cards. Here you go. That's fine. Your opponent has suffered damage. You know what? I'm too injured, and if he wants to fight me, this could go badly. You helped your opponent previously. Hey, look, being the good guy gives you something. And you present your case well as determined by the game master. This is another one that comes with a bit of a caveat. This doesn't mean that only your thespian actor at the table is good at this. If even the person who can't roleplay his way out of a paper bag at least makes sense, makes a plausible argument, and says, I am giving up this to get this, and it makes sense, then go for it. And if he explains himself well, if it takes a half an hour, no, you're wasting game time. But if he can do it in roughly 30 seconds, we'll say, no, what I'm trying to do is this, because if these things happen, I'm hoping he understands that X, Y, and Z come together. My character's explaining that.
More important that we're missing here. The fact that there's no bonus for showing off. I don't see it yet. I should have seen it here.
Well, fair. And I wasn't sure if you're going to, and no, it looks like you haven't, but that's the point of it. The point, let me rephrase that. It doesn't have to be the point of it. You could just do it for, remember when you did the barrel roll and you did it, sure, okay. But this is a part where it can absolutely be used. Like, he's pretty impressive. Now, it's going to be situational, though. If you show it off with your piloting maneuvers and now we're down here trying to, get trade secrets about a computer program, I'm not sure that the piloting, showing off as a pilot.
I think it would. Because that's just the way people work. If someone does something impressive, you're going to have generally a higher regard for that person, even outside of that particular situation. If
it's possible, but I don't think it happens all the time. No, not.
Yeah, but it should be there. Showing off should be there. It should be there as a possible, bonus to negotiating.
A possibility, as like an optional, I think it should be. I would agree with you if it said optional or something for the game master, because I don't think it works in every situation. But I do agree with you in the fact that, yes, in some cases, totally unrelated things, that was cool, I like this guy, can absolutely be there. But I'm also picturing situations where, no, I don't care how well you pilot. Wow, you're impressive. When I have to choose the guy that's going to get me out of here, I'm choosing you because you're the man. But down here in the trenches or whatever, I couldn't give up crap less, But I absolutely, it's an optional rule. I think it should be in here because that's kind of the intent of it. Now, the following factors modify your roll by -1. The opponent has more people. You ask for something valuable or dangerous. The opponent has nothing to gain from helping you. Like, what? No. You can't. You don't get to, in a negotiation. You don't get to have all the cards in your favor unless they literally are in your favor. You're having trouble understanding each other. That could be, obviously, language barriers is the easy one, but it could be understanding needs too. And you're talking via radio or shouting at a distance. I can't. Oh, no, don't. Can't hear you. Medical aid. Let's move on. Now we're on the empathy skills. 3 skills left. That's it. In the world of Alien, there's a significant risk that you or other characters will be injured sooner or later. Yeah. This is when the medical aid skills. What's that?
It's going to happen.
Yep. It can be used in 2 different ways. Recovery. A person whose health has dropped to 0 is broken. We'll talk more about that in combat. If you apply your medical aid skills to that person and your roll succeeds, he gets back on his feet and he immediately recovers a number of health points equal to the number of successes you rolled. By the way, this generally isn't a lot. It's generally 1 or 2 health. Some people, look at this. So just heal me up. I'll be right back in the fight. Ooh, if you understand the Year Zero engine game is better than that. It gets you functioning, though. So you can get the heck out of there. Or maybe do something useful. You're not dead. But don't expect this just to be a whack-a-mole. Like, boom, I'm back up. I'm at full power. Like, no, not really. It can also be used to save a life. The most critical use of medical aid is saving the life of a fallen character who has suffered a critical injury. Failed roll at this point could mean the end for your patient. And I think that's covered in combat also. I know I've read it.
Critical injuries on page 99.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Right there, 99. I have read it. Let's see. Yeah, the not mind control is for manipulation. I think we beat that one down pretty well, though.
It's not Jedi. You're not a Jedi, okay? It has to be reasonable.
Okay. Command, if you are... Now, I don't know this version of Command. I know the Coriolis version. We'll see if it's the same. If you are to survive the horrors of space, you'll need a good leader, or you must become one yourself. You can use your command skill in 2 ways. Stop panic. Oh, that's awesome. Right there. I don't even care what the words say. That's just awesome by the title. When another character makes a panic roll and loses control, you can make a command roll to return that character to his senses. That's awesome.
Perfect. That's perfect. Someone, just like an airplane, there's a woman freaking out. You go in there, you tune her up a little bit. She calms down. Command.
The entire line of people.
Line of people tuning her up. Yeah. Well, they failed. The first guy failed, so we had to give another guy a shot.
That was command with help.
There you go.
Add +3 to the roll. Well, more than 3 people did it. That's fine. 3 maximum still, but
yeah.
What's wrong with that? If you don't know what we're talking about, reference the movie Airplane from 1980. Give orders in combat as a slow action. You can bark orders to another character. Character must be able to hear you, even if via comm radio. Duh. Roll command. For every success you roll, it gets a +1 modification in his roll when carrying out the order you gave. Okay, so that's like the Coriolis version of it.
Yep.
Now he has to follow your order. You can't just give an order, hey, fix things. No, that's not going to work. The order has to be more specific.
No. Giving orders is built-in stunt. It's built in. You have a stunt automatically if you get more than one success, because for every success you roll, someone else gets a +1 if they're doing what you say. So if you roll 2 successes, they get a +2, and then if there's stunts at the end of this, you can also choose one of those.
Wait, what? Okay. I think so, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to visualize. So it's a +1 modification. So you get 2 extra dice. Using your example, that player gets 2 extra dice.
Yep.
For the possibility of stunts.
No. Can you scroll down to see if there are stunts?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, there are no stunts. That's why they did that. Okay, that's why they did that. Command doesn't give you stunts, so extra successes gets a specific built-in stunt for give orders. Every success gives another person a +1 to do what you say.
Yeah, if you're giving, that's the intent. I wouldn't call that a stunt. That's just what the skill does.
No. It is a stunt because for range combat and close combat, you can choose every success over 1 gives you a +1. This one is built in. You just get it.
It acts like a particular stunt, I guess.
Yeah. +1 to someone else's roll. So it's a built-in stunt.
Yeah, I think you're overthinking. But I get what you're saying, but officer PCs with the officer career and the full rank talent can use command to to order other characters to do. That's PCs to do as they say. That's we'll look at the full rank talent in the next video. So there we go. Those are all the skills in this one. All 12. We read through them. We talked them. We discussed them. We gave our opinions on them. What are your thoughts? What do you guys think about these skills? There are only 12 of them. I know I've had people complain that piloting doesn't make sense. That somebody can pilot both a vehicle and a spaceship, or guaranteed. And I think that you're being a little silly about that, because who cares? Yes, there are games out there that are more simulationists that break it down. Well, I can only drive a motorcycle. Well, I can only fly a fighter craft. I get it. That isn't how this game is developed. This game, you're playing these roles.
How many people do you know that can fly a plane but not drive a car? How many? I don't know any. Everyone I know that can fly a plane can also drive a car. So shut up. All right, here we go. We got some chat here. First one is RPG Exile. Hey, Max, finally found you.
Crap, apparently, he found me.
You weren't looking hard. He's here all the time. Michael Watts said, how would the Xenomorph acid blood affect your armor, though? We're going to talk about that when we get to combat. Most likely.
If not combat, then creatures.
Creatures definitely, but combat most likely.
Because I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know. I haven't read that part.
K Dolo says, Aliens is an interesting game. How would you play it with the characters after they first meet the Xenos? Why would they go back and risk another encounter? Well, again, it's not just Xenomorphs. That's not the only alien and menace in this game. So, if you blow your entire load, so to speak, and do Xenomorphs first, well, other enemies aren't going to seem so bad. So you got to build up to that. It's all about, story mode is all about building, right? So I wouldn't worry about that.
Well, hold, put that back up there for a second.
I can't. I just murdered it.
This game reminds me of Battlelords of the 23rd Century. Where do you know who the main enemy is in Battlelords of the 23rd Century? Do you remember?
Those funny bastards.
The Arachnid.
Well,
the Arachnids. So, but you spent more time doing corporate machinations than you did actually shooting Arachnids.
Right.
At least in my experience. This one's the same thing. The Xenomorphs are always in the back of your mind, but if that's all you're doing every session, that would get boring. Pretty quickly.
Real quick. All right. BioKiddo says, anyone else think Alien is a bad setting for an RPG? Whatever the adventure, I know the problem. It's an alien or alien related. That's it. Less mystery than Call of Cthulhu. We just addressed this. All of your campaign should not be about xenomorphs. There's plenty more stuff out there. There's corporate intrigue. There's you have to make money getting cargo from A to B. You have to salvage to make sure you fulfill your contract. And
get an artifact that's emitting radiation.
Yeah, and there are colonists having some trouble. It's not xenomorph trouble. Maybe it's equipment trouble. Maybe it's giant cockroach trouble. I don't know. You have to, the xenomorphs are the end game thing that you use sparingly, and then you can actually also make a campaign. Another
great one is remember Rush from Stargate Universe.
Yep.
You go to a colony and you have Rush trouble because that dude should have been spaced a few times.
Should have been, at the beginning of season 2, he should have been spaced. Yeah. Okay. Eli's up to speed. You got to go.
Yep.
There you go. Ron says, I've played it where showing off avoids a manipulation test. That seems drastic. I would want a show off to add to a manipulation. Just a +1. That's all I'm saying. A +1.
I mean, it depends on the situation. I could absolutely see it.
Yeah. That's fine. Then we have Rex Teal says, someone being impressed about your abilities depends on the individual. Not everyone's going to care. False. Absolutely false. And I'll tell you why. You made that extra success. You chose people are impressed. You earned it. You get it. Bottom line.
No. Nope.
And then you're wrong.
That's too strict of a reading of rules that are frameworks and not in.
Sorry. You earned it. And you just take it away because this guy seems to not be impressed by that obviously impressive feat. F you. No.
I don't think it says impress everyone.
No, it says you read it.
You impress someone. Okay,
someone.
Great. I want you to tell me
somebody is impressed. Is it the guy you want? Maybe not, but someone is going to be impressed. You earned that victory.
But see, I wouldn't want to ask. So this one just says you show off. That doesn't say anything else. You show off.
Okay.
That doesn't mean you necessarily impress anybody. But I would say that if you're going to spend a stunt on that,
on the wording, all that stuff. But if you spent a success on showing off and it's not, and no one is impressed, that's waste.
That I agree with. The game master has to put it into some sort of perspective there.
You have to have some kind of benefit for that extra success.
Yes. I just wouldn't make it an automatic just because, to every single person or every single concept. I think Rex Teal is right in regard that some people just, you got that guy who's sitting down there. He's got the big monocle on his face. He's out of touch with reality half the time, and he's working on something.
Here's the problem. If it says you impress somebody and there's only one person there, guess what? That person's impressed.
Could be.
No one else saw it. No one else could be impressed. And he's someone.
The people are on the ship with you because he didn't see it either because he was too busy doing
the puke bag. Yeah.
The point that I'm making is that I agree with what you're trying to say, but it doesn't make sense. And even in the rules, they state, hey, it's got to make sense for a situation when you're using certain skills, doing certain things. I would probably suggest to a player like, that's great that you showed off, but there's really no point to showing off here because nobody's going to see it. It's just you and the other characters that are on the ship, so to speak. Or, great, you drove into the parking lot and you slid right into the parking spot.
Like Ace Ventura style, parallel park with a spin. Great. No one saw it.
Right. So probably pick a different, I would give you that choice as the game master. Like, hey, maybe you should pick something else, But yeah, I mean, the arguments are there in order to state, and by arguments, we mean the difference of We're not arguing like we're mad at each other. The arguments are there for you to help decide what works for your game.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, some of the things I bring up, even I don't believe.
He gets me yelled at though.
Exactly. Yes. But I go after the way it's worded, because a player at your table will try that.
Yes.
And if you are ready for it and come back immediately, it'll be easier to shut them down.
You just reminded me of something I want to cover today. Somebody left us a pretty long comment, but we'll get to that. Let's hit the like, subscribe, share. Where's that button? There it is.
Boom. Hit it.
Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much for listening to our diatribes. Next is going to be talents. Video will probably be a little shorter than this one. I debated having this one be 2 videos or 1. I just said, you know what, skills are skills. Let's go through the entire thing. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Stay tuned for talents, which we'll be covering next. And those are things that will add little effects to your character and for the skills that you have to give them some uniqueness, some tips and tricks that you can do. So look forward to seeing you then.